Good morning, Mega Podlings. It's Crazy Joe. How you doing? It's Tuesday. Crazy after dark. Crazy after dark time. I see Backwin and Gloop Trekker here. I want my slaw. Kyle. The best part about Tuesdays are at 9 when Crazy Joe goes live. Thank you, Kyle. That is quite kind of you. How's everyone doing tonight? Well, my iPad's acting a little weird, but Joey Baseball is here, and so is Jay. And yeah, Backwin's watching Lilo and Stitch. I actually have a character from a favorite Disney movie here joining me today. It's the garbage unicorn, the garbage eating unicorn from Onward. Onward is easily one of my favorite movies of this year. Not that that's really that hard, seeing as, like, what? How many movies came out this year? 7? I don't know. But I loved the garbage unicorn, so I had to pick that up. Anyway, Aubrey's here. Brent Mania says I'm frustrated. What's wrong, Brent Mania? Let us know. What is frustrating you? Can we unfrustrate you? If we can, we will try. That we shall attempt. James says, "Say Crazy Joe, I know this is controversial." Oh no, no controversy. No controversy. But did you know who got arrested recently? He's an internet celebrity. I don't know. I don't know. Zacharias has finally called on time from Texas. Welcome, Zachariah. Good to see you. Backwin says, a few days ago I finally got around to watch Titanic. Overall, it was good, but I found it to be quite overrated. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it, but there's really nothing about that movie that I've seen that makes me like, oh, I got to see this. Greg is here. He says, Super Chat Unicorn. Well, he could be the Super Chat Unicorn, but he doesn't squeak or anything. Unfortunately, he doesn't do anything. He does have like a tag on his head from like where he hung in the store. I need to remove his unicorn tag. Fortunately, I got scissors right here. I'll call them what Cinema Sickness says, the ever lovely cinnamon. So I'll call this the ever lovely lemon frosted. I don't know. I'll give it a different flavor. A different flavor. Lemon frosting. There he goes. His horn is now. But Mr. Super Chat Hippo, he is here with us today. Super Chat Hippo and the garbage unicorn hanging out together. They look like they're going to do a musical number. Dun dun dun, doo 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 doo. I don't know. Kyle says, I was sad earlier. What's got you down, Kyle? Noah says, hey Joe, last night I brought the complete series of Alf for $5.99. Yes, Rick brought that to my attention. I obviously already had the show, but I did put it up on the Facebook page. So that sale was on the Mega Podtastic Facebook page. It is a heck of a show. I love Alf. Jesse's here. Welcome, Jesse. Chris Pike says, just watched the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie and loved it. It was surprisingly... I mean, I didn't love it, but I thought it was pretty good. And I'm surprised I thought it was pretty good because I thought the trailer looked horrible. But yeah, it was very, very good. James Borland says, Jake Paul got arrested for looting. I do not know who Jake Paul is. I do not know him. You said he's a internet celebrity. I'm not sure. Is he on YouTube? Because I'm not familiar with him. Jay says the drive-in theater was very charming. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a little far. I don't know it's worth driving an hour for, but it was a good time. Noah says, is Alf your sitcom? It's up there. It's certainly not my favorite sitcom. My favorite sitcoms of all time would be Cheers and Community. Those are my two favorites. But I do love Alf. Brent Mania says, lost my job this year. No reason. Been trying to get a new one. No luck. Oh, man, I am sorry. I know it's tough. I mean, I lost my job last year, and then this year... It's got to be even harder because with the virus and everything, it's just it's a terrible time. I'm sorry to hear you're going through that. I don't know. Where do you live? What geographic area are you in, Brent Mania? Can anyone, let's look in the chat room here. Maybe there's someone in your area, right here in the chat room, who could be like, send me your resume. I don't know. It's possible. It's not impossible. Let us know where you live, Brent. Maybe your next job is waiting right here in this chat room. Who knows? You never know. Greg says, Melon Frosty, wonder if we'll ever have it again. What is, I don't know what Melon Frosty is. Sonic movie was great despite the fake trailer. Okay, Joey, more of that BS. Joey wants to spread the conspiracy theory that they made a fake trailer with intentionally bad special effects to generate publicity. That's been disproven. There's action figures out. The action figures bear the resemblance of the old creature design because they didn't have time to change them. Jesse says, Joe, do you like the Fred Savage movie Little Monsters? It's okay. It's all right. It always struck me as like the poor man's Beetlejuice. Like Beetlejuice came out and had ghosts, so they're like, hey, let's do something like that, but we'll make it like monsters, but like they'll act like, wild and over the top, except it wasn't as creative as Beetlejuice, and it didn't have a genius like Tim Burton. Well, he was a genius. I don't know that I'd call Tim Burton a genius today, but in the 80s, he definitely was pretty visionary. Zach says, Joe, ever met Gabe from the Trekkies doc? Not officially. I've never met Gabe in person. Gabe and I run into each other on Facebook all the time because we're members. As a Star Trek fan, I'm a member of like every Star Trek group on Facebook, it seems. And so is he. So I see him a lot. I see him a lot on there posting, and I think I've responded to him. I think he's responded to me. He's very active in online Facebook Star Trek groups, and so am I. So yeah, we've run into each other virtually, but I've never met Gabe from Trekkies. Greg says, Bill and Ted trailer thoughts. It was a teaser trailer. It doesn't show us much, but I mean, my God, I'm in. I mean, there was no chance I wasn't going to be in. I love the first two movies. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Those are classics. Those are absolute classics. I own the second one a little bit better because it got really weird with death, and William Sadler's death. He might be the best character in any of the Bill and Ted movies, is William Sadler's death. And he's in the trailer. I mean, we knew he was going to be back, but he's in the trailer, so I am psyched. I hope Station comes back. Station the alien. I'd love to see Station come back. Aubrey says, did I like the sitcom Soap? I did. I did like Soap. I got the entire series back in behind that door over there. James says, poll time, guys. Who's your favorite character in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Oh, James, I don't even have to think about that one. That is easy. Glenn Howerton, Dennis. Dennis is without question my favorite. I really love how Dennis evolved. Because early on, I think, Charlie was the funniest of them. But as the show progressed, they just kept making Dennis darker and weirder. And he became just more and more narcissistic. And I don't know, it's like as the show went on, it seems like every season Dennis got funnier and funnier. And now it's like, it's without question, Dennis is the best one on that show. Gloop Tracker says, question, whatever became of your YouTube Kappa scare? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. I don't know that I didn't personally have a scare. I mean, I tried to be cautious, like we were doing movie reviews. If I was doing a movie review of an animated film, I said right up front, this is not a review for children. This is a review for adults, maybe who are looking to take their children to see it, things like that. So I tried to specify that things weren't aimed at kids, but I haven't had any issues. James says there was a Chuck Norris cartoon in the 80s. Yes, Chuck Norris Karate Commandos. I used to watch it. Don't remember it too well. I remember watching it. I remember having the action figures, but it wasn't one of those things that really made a too big of an impression on me. Kyle says William Sadler was also in Hard to Kill and Die Hard 2. Yes, and to Star Trek fans, William Sadler will always be best remembered as Luther Sloan, the operative of Section 31. I mean, Section 31 has become in recent years a huge part of Star Trek. It was introduced on Deep Space Nine. Then we saw them again on Enterprise, then in Star Trek Into Darkness, and now they've been playing a role in Star Trek Discovery. So the concept of Section 31, which originated on Deep Space Nine, has just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. But the very first person we ever met from Section 31 was William Sadler. Jamel says, how was your day? My day was pretty good. How was your day? Noah says, watch the Goonies, Gremlins, and Gremlins 2, the new batch, for the first time today. Goonies was okay, as was Gremlins. Hated Gremlins 2. What are your thoughts? My thoughts are, my favorite in that, the three you mentioned there, my favorite movie is the one you said you hated. Gremlins 2 is by far my favorite of those three movies. I adore Gremlins 2. I just think it's one of the funniest movies ever made. I think it's one of the best sequels ever made. I love how the first one kind of had little takeoffs and satirizations of everything from horror movies to old 50s sci-fi movies to It's a Wonderful Life. And then Gremlins 2 continued that, but they satirized the first Gremlins too. That was so audacious. I don't think I've ever seen a sequel. I mean, they've got Leonard Maltin reviewing the first Gremlins in Gremlins 2. I just thought it was a brilliant sequel, and it's my favorite Joe Dante film. Joe Dante is one of my all-time favorite directors. Gremlins 2 is my favorite film of his. And yeah, and then I love Gremlins. Gremlins is my favorite Christmas movie. I watch Gremlins every Christmas. And the Goonies, I mean, everybody loves the Goonies, right? People love the Goonies. I think the Goonies is a little overrated. I like it. I like it a lot. It's a classic. But there's another movie that I always kind of equate with the Goonies. I think they're kind of similar type of movies that I like better. And that is the Monster Squad. The Monster Squad and the Goonies, I kind of put them in the same basket because they're the, young kids go on an adventure without the grown-ups, that kind of movie, you know what I mean? I see them as being similar. But the Goonies, I like it. Monster Squad, I love it. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't see those films as being similar. I see them very much as being similar. In a deleted scene from Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarantino said, I think you're either an Elvis man or a Beatles man, which doesn't mean a Beatles man can't like Elvis or an Elvis man can't like the Beatles, but eventually you've got to make a choice. That scene isn't in the movie, but it's a deleted scene from Pulp Fiction. It was on the old school DVD. I'm sure it's on the current Blu-ray. And I always said, for movie buffs, same thing. You're either a Goonies guy or a Monster Squad guy, which doesn't mean a Monster Squad guy can't like the Goonies or a Goonies guy can't like the Monster Squad, but you got to make a choice. And my choice is Monster Squad. All right. Jesse says, Hulk Hogan was in Gremlins 2. Yes, he was. He had one of the best scenes in that movie. I love that. Greg says, what happened to Gremlins 3? Haven't heard anything about it in ages. Well, Greg, they've been trying to get a Gremlins 3 off the ground. There's been a lot of question of, well, will it be a Gremlins 3 or will it be a reboot? Will it be a reboot or will it be a remake? Is the original cast going to come back? Is it going to be puppets? Is it going to be CGI? Blah, 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 blah. And all the old hardcore fans are like, it's got to be puppets and you got to bring Joe Dante back. But then the conventional wisdom at the studio is, no, remake, reboot, let's do it all over, CGI, blah, 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 blah. And the bottom line is, I think the studio just doesn't know what to do with Gremlins because they could go either of those routes, and they don't know which route to go. I personally say Gremlins 3, sequel, Joe Dante. Get Joe Dante. If Joe Dante is not going to direct it, he has to at least be a producer. That's where I stand. But There is going to be a Gremlins animated series that's going to be on HBO Max, the streaming service no one can get because it's not on Roku or Fire Stick. Oh, I hate HBO Max right now. They are what a failure of a launch. What an incredible failure of a launch they had. But anyway, there's going to be a Gremlins animated series, and it's going to be a prequel set in China in the 1920s about Mr. Wing as a boy and his adventures with Gizmo when he was a child. So, what I heard from Zach Galligan, who played Billy in the movie Gremlins, I saw him at a convention. It was last March. I saw him at a convention, and he told me the current plan is to put the Gremlins animated series on HBO Max and wait and see how it does, see how it performs, and then after they see how Gremlins the animated series performs, then and only then are they going to make a decision as to what they do next, whether it be Gremlins 3 or a remake. So, fingers crossed for a Gremlins 3 directed by Joe Dante. That's what I want to see. But we'll see. We will see. Backwin says, I love Monster Squad and Goonies, but I like Monster Squad more because I'm a big horror movie fan. Just look at the horror films I've watched on my Backwin Letterboxd. Backwin, do I follow you on Letterboxd? If not, I have to make that happen. Jesse says, I like the Goonies, but I'm more of a Monster Squad fan. Watch it every Halloween. Joey says, I'm not a Beatles fan or an Elvis fan, nor am I a Goonies guy or a Monster Squad guy. I've never seen or heard of the Monster Squad. Well, you got to see Monster Squad, Joey. It's got more pop culture significance than Mean Girls. It's very important. Punk Nerd is in the house. Welcome, Punk Nerd. Greg says, I had a dream about seeing Stallone scouting for a movie. He was checking out the old Victorian house. What movie was he going to make, I wonder? I don't know. You know, my friend Tim was in Rocky 6. He was Rocky's son's best friend. I got to get Tim on here someday. Tim, you watching? If you're watching, Tim, we got to get you down here. When this whole virus thing's over, come down. And where's Booth Babe Greg? Booth Babe Greg was supposed to come down here, too. Let's get you down here, Booth Babe Greg. He doesn't even watch anymore. Booth Babe. Oh, my gosh. Super chat from Brent Mania. Thank you, Brent Mania. And Super Chat Hippo thanks you. Thank him, Super Chat Hippo. Thank him. Thank him, unicorn that doesn't make noise. I'll have to make a noise for him. Apparently that's the unicorn noise. I just made that up. We're getting weird tonight. Connor says, I got Alf the complete series for $5 yesterday. You're not the only one, Connor. What a deal. What a bargain that is. Like I said, I already owned it. But you know what else I already own? Hang on, let me show you. Because I paid full price for this. Let me show you what I got here. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, you stay up there. You stay up there. Come on, man. Everything's stuck. Why is everything stuck? Here we go. All right, guys. Let me show you what I got. Now, I paid full price for this. But it's my understanding people are finding this in the Dollar Tree. If you go down to the Dollar Tree right now, apparently you can find the 4400, the complete series. So this is it 5 seasons? I think it was 5 seasons of the 4400. Maybe it was 4 seasons. I can't remember. 14 discs. Yeah. The complete series of the 4400. Season 4. Looks like it was 4 seasons. Okay. But this show was great. And apparently you can get this whole set, every single episode, 42 episodes, 14 discs, for $1 now. I paid full price for this. I am gypped. And I also paid full price for these. I have Alf the Complete series. I bought it season by season. So I own these. Now these came from Walmart. Walmart had them in these special TV Guide Presents slip sleeves, but only season 3 and 4. So season 1 and 2 don't have them, but I got the TV Guide Presents slip sleeves. Season 4's got one too. And yeah. So this is what I got, and I paid more than $5 for it, I'll tell you that much. But I did put the link for that $5 deal on Amazon. I don't know if it's still going on, but yeah, $5 for the complete series of Alf last night. Now, this is what our good friend Rick calls a Frankenstein set, because I've got season 4 of Alf in here, but I stuck one extra disc in here to save shelf space. Project Alf, the movie that followed up the series, is also in here with season 4, because I didn't want to take up more disk space. You know, disk space is space on the shelf is a precious, precious thing. So if you can save space, save the space, I say. James says, complete set for $1. What a deal. I agree. Joey says, Joe, how's the weight loss going? I know you were struggling since the coronavirus. Well, I lost 5 pounds last week, and I lost 1 pound this week. So it's going. It's happening. It's not happening as quickly as I'd like, but it's happening. So it'll be a little easier when I get back to the office and our gym. We have a gym in the office. Once that gym is opened up again, it'll be much easier, because then I can go to the gym on my lunch break. Right now, on my lunch break, I kind of have to watch Kira, because Christine's watching Kira most of the day. We're both working from home, so she's trying to work and watch Kira, but I'm on another floor. So by the time I get on lunch, you know, it's my turn to watch. Excuse me. So anyway, Joey says, how much was full price for the 4400? I don't remember, because I bought it long enough ago that I don't remember for sure, but I want to say $25. I want to say I paid $25 for this, which at the time I thought $25 for the complete series, that's a bargain. And you know what? That is a bargain. $25 for the whole show, the whole series, every stinking episode, that's not bad. But $1 is unreal. That is crazy good deal. Connor asked, have I seen Explorers by Joe Dante? Connor, I love Explorers by Joe Dante. In fact, I found out one of our local drive-ins is going to be showing Explorers in August, and I might have to go see it, because I've never seen it on the big screen, and I am crazy about that movie. I just got a new car. It's called a Rolls Canarley. Rolls down one hill, Canarley get up the next. The Rolls Canarley, folks. I got to get Joe Dante on, or not Joe Dante, Bob Picardo. I'd love to get Joe Dante. If Joe Dante wants to come on my podcast, he's more than welcome. But I got to reach out to Bob Picardo. I'd love to try to get Bob Picardo on, because Bob Picardo played 3 roles in Explorers. He played Star Killer in the movie at the drive-in. When they went to the drive-in, the movie Star Killer, Picardo played Star Killer. And he also played Whack, the alien Whack, on the ship at the end. But then he also played Whack's dad. And he ad-libbed most of his own jokes, like the joke about the Rolls Canarley. Backwin says, who's your favorite member of the X-Men? My personal favorite is Rogue, because she comes from the South and she's extremely pretty. Rogue is great. But who is my favorite? I am going to go with, and this comes from a nostalgia place. I always say my introduction to most superheroes was through television and movies, okay? I always say I'm more of a DC guy than a Marvel guy. And the reason is, if you look at the generation I grew up, my generation, and Greg is, the same generation as I. Greg can attest to this. What superheroes were we exposed to the most? Well, every Saturday morning, Super Friends was on. Super Friends, Hanna-Barbera. We got bombarded with Super Friends. Scooby-Doo, always teaming up with Batman. Reruns of the Adam West Batman series daily. Summer months, my local channel, Fox 29. they'd put on 2 episodes or like 1 episode. I don't know. They always had Batman on in the afternoon. And whatever you were doing, if you went to the swimming pool or something, we belonged to a pool. We didn't have a pool in our yard. We were members of the pool. But you had to be home for Batman. Got to get home. Batman's coming on. I guess he was, he was in a deadly trap. The Riddler put him in a trap, and we don't know if he's going to get out. Got to get home and see that. Christopher Reeve as Superman in the movies. We had Linda Carter as Wonder Woman on television. These are the superheroes I grew up with. So the DC characters have always held a much stronger place in my pop culture appreciation, nostalgia, because they are the characters I grew up with. Now, however, there were a couple Marvel characters who permeated. Not many, but a couple. And the ones who permeated the most were Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk was appearing on TV with Lou Ferrigno. You definitely saw the Hulk. Spider-Man, the reruns of the Nicholas Hammond live-action TV series. Those reruns would show on TV, usually in a block as a movie. They would get like 2 episodes of the series, string them together, and be like, this Saturday afternoon on Channel 29, Spider-Man in the Chinese Web. That was an actual one. They would take 2 episodes of the series, string them together, and bill it as a Spider-Man movie. And I didn't know any better, because I was young. And I was just young enough that I missed Spider-Man when it was a series, so I would only catch these movies, and I thought they were real movies. I'm like, they made a Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man in the Chinese Web. Then I'd watch it, and I'm like, well, it kind of sucked, but I'd watch it anyway. And then it would come on again 6 months later, and I'd watch it again, or they'd string 2 other episodes of the series together. And then Spider-Man was appearing on the Electric Company. He was always on the Electric Company, which was a show, for those of you too young to remember the Electric Company. It was from the creators of Sesame Street, but for an audience just a little bit older than Sesame Street, and it was teaching reading. But every Saturday morning on NBC, there was a show called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And Spider-Man had 2 friends who hung out with him, Iceman and Firestar. And I didn't know at the time that Iceman was one of the X-Men. I didn't even know who the X-Men were. The X-Men had no permeation into the pop culture back then other than the comic books. Like if you were a comic book reader, if you went down to the comic book store, X-Men was like the best-selling comic at that time. But outside of comics, the average person on the street, they couldn't tell you what the X-Men were. They had no idea. The X-Men were very much in the comics world where they were huge, but they did not permeate out. It wasn't until the 90s when the X-Men series started on Fox, that's when X-Men really started to permeate outside the world of comics. So I would watch Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends every Saturday morning, and I loved it. So you asked me who my favorite X-Men is? It's Iceman. Iceman is my favorite member of the X-Men, always has been, because he was sort of the first one I knew. And when I first saw the X-Men in a comic book, I said, hey, that's Spider-Man's buddy, Iceman. So that is my choice, Iceman. Gloop Tracker says, I grew up on Super Friends too, but also loved Spider-Man cartoon and the Electric Company. So I think you and I had a similar intro to these characters then, Gloop Tracker. Greg says, I used to race home to watch Battle of the Planets. Backwin says, my introduction to Marvel was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. As an adult, I became a huge fan of the X-Men, but when I was younger, I had a VHS tape with the first 3 episodes of X-Men Evolution. X-Men Evolution was good. James Borland says, don't forget reruns of George Reeves. Yes, George Reeves' Superman would air in reruns, particularly on, I think it was the USA Network. One of the cable networks used to show it a lot in the like Saturday, Sunday mornings. Rockin' Roger says, hey, Crazy Joe, do you remember the 80s comedy show Sledgehammer? Funny you should mention it. Yes, I was talking about Sledgehammer last week. I did a video. You can find it on the YouTube channel. I did a video with my friend Dan Benzing, who hosts the channel Dan Reviews It. And Dan and I kind of gave our impressions of HBO Max. But shortly after we finished doing the video, when we stopped recording, Dan and I got into a big conversation about Sledgehammer. So, yeah, I do remember Sledgehammer. And I own the series. Greg says, I only remember Spider-Man from the Electric Company. Absolutely. Spider-Man. Where are you coming from, Spider-Man? Nobody knows who you are. Cal says, I got called dumb today. Well, that's not cool. That is not cool. Who called you dumb? No need for name calling. As Bill and Ted say, be excellent to each other. Party on, dude. Backwind says, Hulk was another one I got introduced to at a young age. I had a DVD that had the pilot for the 78 series, and it also had 2 Hulk TV movies in a set. I got all those. I got all those TV movies and the pilot. Yeah, it's good stuff. Gloop Trekker says, I still have an old TV guide with Lou Ferrigno and the Hulk on the cover. I have an autographed poster of Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk. And one of these days I'd like to frame it and hang it, but I don't think Christine likes it. I don't think she was ever much of a fan of Lou Ferrigno's Hulk, so. James Borland says, thoughts on the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk movie? 2003 Ang Lee Hulk movie, not a fan. I like aspects of it. I mean, the special effects, the Hulk CGI was tremendous for the time. It's since gotten better. What they do now with Mark Ruffalo looks better than the 2003 movie. But if you put yourself at where we were in 2003, it was pretty incredible. And I really liked, some people criticized this. Some people did not care for this. But I really liked how Ang Lee used different, he did like multiple screens. He'd like layer like different screens to kind of create the look of a comic book panel. I heard people complain and think that was dumb. I thought it looked great. I thought it was really cool. But the story was weird. The story was weird. Connor says, I have never seen Alf as a true he eats cats. He does eat cats. He loves cats. I love Alf, man. I love Alf. I have a meme of Alf saved in my phone, and it's a picture of Alf, and it says, I see your cat pictures. I got a recipe for all of them. Lisa is here. One of the trainers at my work got called to audition for Robin in Batman Forever, but Chris O'Donnell got it. Oh, that's pretty cool. You know, Marlon Wayans was cast as Robin in Batman Returns. And then he got cut from the script. But he was cast, and they even made an action figure of Robin. Didn't look like Marlon Wayans, though. But Marlon Wayans was going to be Robin in Batman Returns. Got cut from the movie. But apparently, he still gets residuals from the movie, even though he wasn't in it. Whatever kind of contract he signed, he still gets a check from that movie, despite not being in the finished film. Never even shot. Like it's not like they even shot his scenes and cut them. They cut him from the script before. Like, he never was in the movie. But whatever contract he signed, he still apparently gets a residual. It's very interesting. Trashboat says, why is the Adult Swim channel on HBO Max so sparse? No Harvey Birdman, no Venture Brothers. Yes, no C-Lab 2021. No Brack Show. Oh, man, the Brack Show. Wasn't the Brack Show great? HBO Max, in a word, sucks. I don't know what else I could say about HBO Max. It is a failure on every level. It's a failure on content. It's a failure on delivery method, because you can't watch it on your TV because there's no Roku and there's no Fire Stick. They couldn't have dropped that ball any harder than they dropped it. Backwind says, one thing that I really loved about X-Men Evolution was that they took Cyclops and Jean Grey, who in my opinion are some of the weaker X-Men characters, and made them interesting. Gloop Tricker says, Connor, Alf always discusses eating cats, but it's never depicted. That's true. You never actually see him eat a cat. Kyle says, my uncle called me that today. Oh, that's not cool, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you got to deal with that. That's try not to let it get to you. I mean, it's easy to say those words, but you know, it's all you can do. It's all you can do. Just remember, you can't control what people call you. People are going to call you that. You have no control over that. But the thing you do have control is how you're going to handle it, how you're going to take it. So if you make a concentrated effort to not let it get to you and not take it seriously, it's easier said than done, but it can be done. It can be done. Greg said, how badly do you want some of those retro Star Wars figures? I would like them. I would like them. Greg says, we met Lou Ferrigno at the Dragon Con parade. Was he nice to you? Ferrigno's got a reputation, man. He's a guy who's hot and cold, you know? You never know when you meet Ferrigno. There's an old story, and at this point, I think it's like it's almost like an urban legend now. Like, I don't know if it's true. But there's an old story that Lou Ferrigno once chased a kid down at a convention because a kid walked by and snapped a picture of him, and he like chased the kid down and shook $10 out of the kid and was like, you know, you need to pay me $10 to take my picture. I've heard that story repeated so many times though that it's one of these things where it's like, is that just an urban legend or did that really happen? I don't know. Jesse says, Joe, did you ever watch the Rockford Files? I've seen it. I didn't watch it a lot, though. Lisa says, speaking of Wayne's, what about Blank Man? I don't think I've ever seen the whole movie of Blank Man. Trashboat says HBO Max is on Xbox One. It's also on PlayStation 4. Speaking of PlayStation 4, you know, my PlayStation 3 died on me. I mean, it still works, technically, but the one thing it doesn't do is play discs. It won't play games. You can't put a game in there anymore. You can't put a movie in there and just use it as a Blu-ray player, because 9 times out of 10, I was using it as a Blu-ray player, by the way. I don't play a lot of games. It was basically my Blu-ray player. And it just stopped working. Now, it still turns on. It still does everything else, like everything you would want it to do except read a disc. You put a disc in there, and it's like it doesn't even acknowledge that there's a disc in there. Like it can't even pick up that there's a disc. So that kind of makes it worthless now, which is a shame. Backwin says HBO Max is a failure for 2 reasons. Too expensive and no support from Roku or other providers. Yeah. And it's like if you're going to be... I think the price is fair in a sense because they're charging what they charge for HBO now. So it's like if you're already paying that for HBO Now. So it's like, oh, now here's HBO Now but with more at no added cost. Okay. But it's disappointing. Vernon says DC Daily is canceled. I heard. That's disappointing, but to be fair, I never watched it. Jim Dugan says, who did that? Cinema Sickness? Who did what? I feel like I'm missing something. What are we asking, Jim? Who did what? I think I missed the question. Trashboat says, would you want to see a live action movie based around Azrael as Batman? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If a Batman movie came out and it was anyone other than Bruce Wayne, I would have no interest. I feel like those other characters they're also Rands, you know? It's like Terry McGinnis works, but that's not really Batman. That's Batman Beyond, and Bruce Wayne's still there as the mentor. But yeah, I'm not interested. It's the same with any legacy character. Like if you said to me, "Oh, we're gonna make a movie about the Flash, but it's gonna be Bart Allen," I'd be like, "No. Bart Allen was like the Flash for like 5 minutes." Excuse me. Jim says, wait for PS5. Yeah, but PS5 isn't going to play my PS3 games anymore, is it? Like, I got so many PS3 games, one of which I just recently bought. I just bought one a few months ago, and the kids love it. The girls, like, come down here all the time to play it. And now we can't play it. So I think I'm gonna. I mean, I know the PlayStations are never backwards compatible, so I think I'm gonna have to dig up another PlayStation 3. Jim says, "Who chased someone down for $10 taking a pic?" Well, I don't know if it's true, Jim, but the rumor, the urban legend, the story is that Lou Ferrigno did that. I don't know. I don't know if I believe it, but that's what they say. Brandon says, just bought tickets to the drive-in for June 18th. Becky and Infamous double feature. Very cool. I was at Becky's drive-in, and oddly enough, Becky's drive-in was not showing Becky. I'd like to go to Delsey, but I don't want to drive through Philly. I tried driving through Philly a couple weeks ago, and it ended in disaster. Cal says, I can't believe my birthday's coming up. I'll be 20 in August. Happy birthday to you. Congratulations. My daughter's birthday is in August as well, but she's only going to be 5. Connor says, did you hear the Joker's reunion in the new Batman film? Riddler will be the main villain. I'm excited for the new Batman movie. I think it's going to be really good. Things are opening back up. Jim says, I'm getting excited for Wonder Woman 84. Oh man, I couldn't be more excited for Wonder Woman 84. It sucks that Mulan will be a longer wait. Isn't Mulan July? I thought Disney was releasing Mulan in July. By the way, that got me thinking. Disney's doing a live action remake now of Hercules. They're going to do Hercules next. That's the next live action remake they've announced. But it got me thinking. How could you do it differently? Because that's always the big thing. Like, okay, we're going to take this classic animated film, translate it to live action. What can you do that's different? Well, I got thinking about it. And I was thinking, what if on the live action Hercules, what if Kevin Feige was a producer? Okay? You get Kevin Feige to be the producer of the Hercules live action movie. And then you do a remake of the animated movie. You make it a musical, you have him sing his songs, whatever. But you retain that actor to a multi-film contract. And then you bring him in a sequel into the modern day. You do a Hercules 2, and you bring Hercules into the modern day in the Marvel Universe. Because Marvel Comics has their own version of Hercules. So it was like, what if Disney took the Marvel Hercules and the animated Hercules and said, same guy, and retroactively made their Hercules movie part of the MCU. I know it's crazy and it'll never happen, but it just seemed like that would be a really wild way to kind of reboot the animated Hercules movie, but doing something wildly different with it. Yeah, it was just a thought. Marie says, God bless you. Thank you, Marie. Jesse says, did you ever see The Flintstones with John Goodman and Rick Moranis? I did. It's okay. I'm not a huge fan of it, though. James says, thoughts on Disney live action remakes? Not a fan of them. It depends on the movie. I thought some of them were excellent. I really loved Aladdin. I think Aladdin is probably the best one they've ever done. Jungle Book was pretty good. I really liked Maleficent, but I didn't care for Maleficent 2. I don't know. They're hit or miss. In any event, I would rather see Tron 3. Tron 3 over a Disney live action remake any day, without a question. I would rather see Tron 3. Trashboat says most Sony Blu-ray players actually connect to PS3 controllers and play PS3 games. Most Sony Blu-ray players? Interesting. Okay. I've never heard that before, Trashboat. Jim Dugan says they're mostly solid. Aladdin, Jungle Book, and Cinderella were all very good. Lion King was bad. To be fair, I never liked the animated Lion King. So I didn't like the new Lion King, but I didn't like the old Lion King either. So I kind of looked at it and was like, it's the same movie, and I didn't like it the first time. Lisa says that's just wrong that they don't make PlayStation backwards compatible. It worked for PlayStation 1 to 2. Technology, boo hiss. I agree. Connor says, what are my thoughts on Small Soldiers? I love Small Soldiers. It's a Joe Dante film. I'm a big Joe Dante fan. I enjoyed Small Soldiers quite a bit. Jesse says, do I remember the Hercules cartoon from the 60s? I don't. Was it based on Marvel's Hercules? Joey says they should have Dwayne Johnson play Hercules. I know he already played Hercules, but he should play it again because he's the only guy who can play Hercules. I'd rather not see him as Hercules. I don't know. I don't see him in that role. I didn't see the last one he was in either. He doesn't seem like Hercules to me. He doesn't have that Hercules feel to him. I don't know. Trashboat says, I was excited for the Batman until they revealed they're just rehashing villains instead of going to the books for fresh villains. I think they're doing this the right way. First of all, we haven't seen Penguin in a movie since 1992. Catwoman, she was in the terrible Christopher Nolan one, Dark Knight Rises. And Anne Hathaway was good in that part, but it's not a good movie. Dark Knight Rises was pretty bad. Yeah, I knew you were Batman because you had lonely eyes. I recognized the eyes of an orphan. Oh, Christopher Nolan. What were you thinking? Frank Castle says, did you ever watch the Speed Racer live action film? Yes. I was just talking about that movie recently. I said it's the last good movie that not the Farrelly brothers, the Wachowskis ever made. Because we keep hearing Matrix 4, written and directed by Lana Wachowski. And I'm like, yeah. But look at what the Wachowskis have done. Other than the Matrix 1 and Speed Racer, and Bound is pretty good. Everything they've touched is crap. they're not good. The sign of the Wachowskis doing it. They made the Matrix sequels. They made Matrix 2 and 3. They made Jupiter Rising. It's like you tell me, oh, guess what? We're getting a Matrix 4. And a lot of Wachowskis behind it. I'm like, yeah, you didn't sell me on that. You didn't just sell me on that. You just made me think, well, that's going to be a load of crap. If you told me they're making a Matrix 4 and Lana Wachowski is not going to be involved and they got someone new doing it, I'm actually more intrigued. But yeah, no, that's a long way around to say, yes, I really like Speed Racer. Lisa says Mulan is showing us July 24th, Wonder Woman August 14th, Bill and Ted August 3rd. Or August 21st, and Black Widow is November. That is correct. I think. Brandon says there's a 2-pack of Explorers and Small Soldiers. Oh, really? Okay. On Blu-ray? Let's see. Connor says, wow, I love Dark Knight Rises, especially Tom Hardy as Bane. I am not a fan of that movie. I especially hated the my name's not Mary Jane, but I'm MJ bit they put in there. I hate when movies do this crap. It's like Spider-Man Far From Home and Spider-Man Homecoming. What are you doing? She's not Mary Jane. She's Michelle Jones. But we're going to call her MJ. So wink, she's MJ. But she's not MJ. She's someone else who's not MJ. A completely different character. But she's our MJ. You get it? Wink. That just strikes me as so stupid. And Dark Knight Rises gave us one of those with, my name's John Blake. Oh, wait. Maybe it's under my given name. Is it under Robin? You get it? Robin, wink, wink, Shit or get off the pot. Shit or get off the pot. You want him to be Robin? Call him Dick Grayson. Oh, I'm Dick Grayson. Oh, yeah. You don't want him to be Robin? Okay, he's not Robin. Oh, my name's John Blake. All right. You want her to be Mary Jane? Okay, she's Mary Jane. You don't want her to be Mary Jane? Then don't call her MJ. Give her own name. It's this shit or get off the pot. It's this stupid, like, it's not what you think, but it is what you think. It's what you're thinking, but it's not. It's, what are you doing? Sorry. James says Matrix 4 is a dumpster fire. I'm assuming. I'm assuming. I haven't seen it, obviously. Backwin says Killer Croc should be used, but if they do, it'll be pushing an R rating because Croc is quite violent. I would be more than happy to see Killer Croc come back. He was in Suicide Squad, and he didn't die, so you could always bring Killer Croc back. I'm on board with that. Trashboat says Speed Racer was a fun time, downright bonkers, and I want nothing less from Speed Racer. I agree. Backwin said Kane Hodder would be a great choice because he's huge, and if you watch Hatchet, he causes bloody carnage. Kane Hodder would be a great choice for which part? I missed part of that, I think. Joey says, how do I not love Totoro? He's so cute, and he was in Toy Story. Totoro? John Turturro? You mean John Turturro? I like John Turturro. He was in Toy Story? I'm confused. Anyway. Aubrey says MJ needs to be a redhead and actually Mary Jane. I love the character of Michelle Jones. I think they created a wonderful character. She's terrific. I like the character. I like the actress playing her. I think she's great. But why are you doing this wink thing like, it's Mary Jane, but it's not Mary Jane, but we're calling her MJ. Do it or don't do it. Do it or don't do it. Do you want her to be Mary Jane? But then she doesn't act anything like Mary Jane. I mean, she's very much a unique character. Like, she doesn't have personality in sync with Mary Jane. Like, Mary Jane was never into, like, serial killers and, like, really dark, macabre stuff. That's not MJ's personality. So it's like, you very much made a unique character. So it really wouldn't make sense to call her Mary Jane because she's too different character-wise. But I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. But you could have called, if you wanted to, you could have called Joey G. Levitt over in Dark Knight Rises. You could have called him Dick Grayson because he was a cop. And Dick Grayson, for a while, there was a cop. Sure, you're changing the backstory. He wasn't raised by Batman, but there's enough similarity there that you could say, you could draw like a line through and say, no, this connects to this connects to this. This guy feels like the same character. But Connor says, do I like Rick Moranis in Little Shop of Horrors? I love Little Shop of Horrors. I love it. Little Shop is just, it's one of my favorite musicals of all time, especially the director's cut. I hate the theatrical cut, but the director's cut is phenomenal. Trashboat asks if I've played the Arkham games. I have not. I think I started to play one of them, and then I lost interest. I'm not much for modern games. I like old school games. Modern games just don't hold my interest. James says Joey's referring to My Neighbor Totoro. Oh, well, that's anime. I don't watch anime. Kyle says, hey, Joe, I'm asking for some things for my birthday. They're different, like a couple Scooby-Doo VHS tapes and some Steven Seagal VHS tapes and one Clint Eastwood tape. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. You're probably like the only person of your generation who's collecting VHS, and I raise a glass to you, sir. That's pretty awesome. All you lucky people asked, what did I think of the new Bill and Ted trailer? I liked it. It doesn't show us much. It's very, very much a teaser trailer. It doesn't give us too much, but it gives us enough, and I'm in. I mean, there's no way they're not getting my money. I hope to God it doesn't go direct to streaming. If it doesn't get a theatrical release, I'm going to be majorly bummed out because we've waited 30 years for this movie. We've waited 30 years for this movie. If we wait 30 years and basically we just get a direct-to-video sequel, that's going to be a letdown. That's going to be a letdown. Trashboat says, do I like Gotham? I watched the first several episodes and I didn't care for it. I bailed out real early. Jesse says, thoughts on Rick Moranis coming out of retirement to be in a new theatrical Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie. I'm psyched. I'm glad to have Rick Moranis back. I watched him recently on an episode of Prop Culture. They did a Prop Culture on Disney Plus, did an episode on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And it was great seeing him. It was terrific seeing him. And I said to my wife, I said, oh, it's just nice seeing him. It's just nice seeing him. That makes me happy. James says he recommends Invader Zim. I love Invader Zim. I got the whole series. The creator of Invader Zim, what's his name? Jonah Vasquez? I may be mispronouncing his name. He did a great comic book in the 90s called I Feel Sick, story about a girl. And he was also really well known for Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. So yeah. Joey says, what if Ghostbusters 2020 goes direct to video? Fortunately, it's not. It's been bumped to March. So I'm bummed out. We got to wait to see it. But I'd rather wait to see it than watch it direct to video. So it's worth the wait if I get to see it on the big screen. And fortunately, it's coming out in March, so that's my birthday month. So my birthday gift this year is I get a new Ghostbusters movie, so that's cool. All right, guys, we're wrapping things up. Last chance to hear from Super Chad Hippo and from Trash Unicorn, and I made up Trash Unicorn's sound earlier, so I don't remember what he sounds like already. I've already forgotten. So if we have to hear from Trash Unicorn again, it might be a unique sound this time because I have to come up with something. Gloop Trekker says, Gotham started getting way over the top, but I followed it to the end. Riddler's excellent on that show. My problem with Gotham was that it was Batman without Batman, number one. And number two, the villains felt too old. Like, Batman was like 12 years old or something. But the villains were like in their 30s. So I was like, well, that would mean that like all Batman's villains are like what, like in their 50s or something when Batman fights them? I don't know. It just felt like the timeline was off. James says, Joe, favorite Batman movie. Favorite Batman movie, without a doubt, without question, Mask of the Phantasm. There's no better Batman movie than Mask of the Phantasm. Now, Cinema Sickness would tell you Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. And I call shenanigans on that one because it was not a theatrical release. It was direct to video. If you ask me what my favorite movie is, I'm going to give it a theatrical release. I'm like, direct to video? It's not a real movie. It's not a real movie. A movie that played in screens. And Batman Mask of the Phantasm was a theatrical release. I saw it in the theater. So yes, I say Mask of the Phantasm. Now, if we're going for live action, what's my favorite live action Batman movie? Then it's without a question Tim Burton's Batman Returns. Batman Returns easily. Lisa says, so tickled Rick Moranis is coming back. Still banking on a Ghostbusters 3 appearance. I hope so. Ghostbusters birthday movie viewing party. Who's in? Come on down. Come on down to the area. We'll all go to the Water Tower Cinema. Jesse says, what's my favorite John Candy movie? Summer Rental. Easily Summer Rental. And Joey Baseball says, is Scoob not a real movie? It doesn't feel like one. Went direct to video, which is part of the bummer. I know that was supposed to be a theatrical release. And hopefully if they make a sequel, it'll go theatrical, not direct to video, because yeah, it doesn't feel real. Once it goes direct to video, if your first viewing is in your house, just, I don't know, it feels like it might as well be a made-for-TV movie airing on the Fox network, you know? Like Revenge of the Nerds 3. Nick asks, how many movies do you watch a week? Not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. Watching movies is very difficult around here. By the time I get settled in to watch a movie, it's usually so late. I usually end up just watching a TV show instead because I don't have time to watch a movie. I did just finish the complete series. It took me about 2 months, and I finished the complete series of Degrassi, Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. I got them both off of Amazon. And I finished them. The other day I watched, I didn't realize this at the time, but there was a movie. And of course, it was a made-for-TV movie, so like I'll say, not a real movie. But they wrapped that series up on a movie called School's Out, which I didn't know, and it took a pretty dark turn. I gotta say, it took a pretty dark turn. Nick says, are they still making Degrassi? Well, I know there was a show on called Degrassi: The Next Generation, which I never watched. And I started to watch it the other day because I wrapped the original series and it's on Tubi. So I said, let me tune into The Next Generation, see if it's any good. And it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. I think I'm a purist for the original. All right, guys, I got to wrap this up. It is time to go do the podcast. We got to record the podcast. Trashboat says, is 66 not a real movie? No, that is a real movie because that played theatrically. That was a theatrical release. So yeah, that was not a direct-to-video movie. Guys, we got to wrap this up. It's time to record the podcast. So thanks for joining us. Gary's not here to give us the stream ending joke, so we'll have to do without it for tonight. And until next time, keep wearing those pajamas.